What's up YouTube, Joe here from Zephyr, and I'm here, as you can see, showing you guys my 4th place finalist Gammamon deck. Now, I'm really sorry if I'm just flooding and boring you guys with all the Gammamon content, but he's my boy, I love him so much. But also, I really wanted to share with you guys, because I thought having a 4th place finish is really good for deck building, so you guys can get an understanding on how well the deck actually is performing, and you can get a good gist and see that, you know, these decks do work. And especially if you want to actually get into the Gammamon strategy or into any deck strategy in particular, that again, knowing that a deck is actually performing, it's actually doing well, the things work, things like the things make sense, like options make sense, you know, all that jazz. So again, I do apologize if you guys are getting bored of Gammamon content. I am really trying. I am trying to get other content here on the channel as I spread it all out. But I do hope you guys are enjoying this content anyway. So before I get into the profile, if you enjoy, give us a like and subscribe down below. Ding that notification bell, because obviously if you enjoy a person's content here on YouTube, you don't want to miss out on that content, and that notification bell helps prevent that. All of the support is greatly appreciated, and thank you guys so much for doing so. So let's get into this Gammamon profile. I'll also be using this as a event report as well, so you guys know what I faced, how it went, things I would change, and that kind of thing. So let's get into the content. So starting off with the egg of choice, still Gammamon from RB1. You know, we are gaining lots of evolution sources. All of our Digimon and Tamers just give us evolution sources, so you know, getting that extra consistency is strong. So I'm going to go through the profile somewhat quickly, as they're all pretty much self-explanatory. All these cards have been in the deck before, and pretty much most of them don't need explanation. So 4 copies of RB1 Gammamon for the Searcher, 4 copies of LM Gammamon for the Tamer play, only ability to Digivolve for free, 3 copies of the BT21 Gammamon for the DP buff and allowing us to go into Serious Mon, 1 copy of the LM Pokemon for the extra protection and the extra search, and then 2 copies of Solomon for the Royal Knights matchup, as well as things like Adventure. All these were great except for Solomon. And why? I did not see Royal Knights at all at the store regionals. It's very frustrating I didn't see it, because then every time I was drawing Solomon, and I mean literally every single match has Solomon in my hand, he just like was not doing anything for me. So it's very frustrating to have it in here. I still think he's still a necessity, but I'm actually thinking of cutting him down to 1 for the next store regionals I'm going to, which is our own one at Shepherd's Bush, and just seeing, you know, how well that performs. It is a larger store regionals, the one I just went to at Wales in Cardiff. Cardiff in Wales actually was only a 32-man event. 32-person event, as well as our Darkspear one is going to be a 64. So there's a higher chance, like twice the chance potentially I could see a Royal Knights match. But you know, I might actually keep swap it out, put him at a 1. If I see him, great. If I don't see him, you know, hopefully the deck just performs. Most of this I'm seeing aren't using any floodgates at all in Gammamon, so obviously something's doing well to the point where they do not need it. And then in that case, I'll then take one out and either put in another rookie, maybe a second Pokemon, or bump up some of the other cards in the deck, or add in like maybe a scramble. Yes, those were the level 3 choices. No, pretty much all of them worked. Even when I was drawing Solomon, I was still, you know, being able to put him in the back and evolve into things like Battle Gammamon. So he still had some uses, but overall he wasn't doing the initial job he was there to do, which was frustrating. 4 copies of BT21 Regulus Gammamon, 2 copies of BT21 Battle Gammamon, 2 copies of RB1 Regulus Gammamon, 1 copy of Wesson Gammamon, and 1 copy of Chaos Gammamon. One of the last changes I made before I went to the event was swapping 1 copy of Regulus Gammamon for Chaos Gammamon. The idea for that is that if I was going up against any blocker heavy decks, Chaos Gammamon could potentially help me out preventing my attacks from being redirected or from being blocked. But also it was just in previous profiles I was having the Gammamon as a nice spawn option of either my Regulus Ace or my Proxima, as a way so that if you do not out this and you have 0 security, I am going for a free swing per game, like just nearly uncontested swing. Unfortunately never came up. I would probably maybe go back to either a third Regulus Gammamon or bumping up Better Gammamon to 3. Just taking him out overall. The resin was nice to have in a deck as a nice clutch safety net. So I wouldn't change that, please. But yeah, probably either bumping up the Regulus or the Better Gammamon. One of might actually been better instead of having the Gammamon. But yes, or even just dropping off completely and just trying off a 9 champion list. I have seen recent lists doing well with 9 champions, so it's not exactly a ratio that doesn't work. But yeah, that's something I would probably change as well. Everyone else did great, especially Regulus Gammamon. Again, still MVP of the champion lineups in my personal opinion. From BT21, like this card is absolutely just amazing. I love Regulus Gammamon. Moving into the ultimates is 3 copies of RB1 kind of Iceman, 3 copies of 21 kind of Iceman, and 2 copies of Regulus Ace. These all worked great. I didn't have pretty much any problems with any of them. This kind of ice is just super powerful. I might try out other level 5s that gain the effects though, as I wasn't doing the warping from a level 3 via kind of ice in a lot. That wasn't coming up a lot, and there's also another change that I kind of want to swap out and try out later on, but when we get to the Tamers. But being able to use this to trigger off the Regulus effect again repetitively, as well as in the Mega lineup, was just again super powerful, super handy. Being able to get the floating effect from the Regulus as well is again super handy. Just having a level 5 that grants the effects and transfers the effects over was just fantastic. And I just really loved it so much. The new can of ice is great for the protection, the popping, the tucking is just, triggers off everything, was just absolutely great. Fantastic. Regulus Ace did come up in my Hunters match as they were trying to go for game with a level 4. I was able to off a Regulus coming out security, go into this, tucking a thing, deleting a body, and then procking the brothers to go into another serious procking, deleting the last body on board, essentially leaving him with nothing on field. And I had like 2 serious mons on board. So Regulus Ace is still doing absolute wonders for the deck. I absolutely love him. Wouldn't probably take him out at all. But the RB1 Kano is something I'm thinking of swapping out. Not because of him necessarily, but also more for the sense that I kind of want to try out other ultimates that transfer the effects over. More specifically, I kind of want to try out again the old Regulus Mon, especially when I'm thinking of dropping a Solar Mon for a second Pokemon. I can get that nice combo duo going. Moving on to the Megas, which is one of the biggest changes of the deck in personally. So it's 3 copies of the brand new Sirius, 4 copies of Arcturus, and only 1 Proximon. Before I was going to the event, I had Proximon at 2 and Arcturus at 3, mostly for the Megidra matchup. In the sense that I can go into a Arcturus stack, making it and threatening them to actually to do their Megidra play. Because the moment Megidra just nukes the field, Arcturus is going to proc. He's going to be able to trash me, get any Digimon from trash back to hand, trash a Sirius, and play Proxima. Now they have essentially nothing on the field other than like maybe a rookie, and now I have a level 7 which they do not out via a Gallantmon. Then I'm going for, lethal, potentially lethal, and just swarming the field and controlling the field next turn. In the end, I made the anti-switch and going for 4 and 1. and essentially just taking out Proximon and bumping the Arcturus to 4 instead of going 3-2, because in the car journey, discussing it with my mate Joe, he was saying that whenever he faces me with Gammamon, whenever I become Proximon, he says he's safe. He says he feels safer with a Momo from level 7. I'm like, well, I don't want everyone else thinking that. So I dropped him down to 1, so I still have him in the deck to trigger off the Arcturus. By bumping Arcturus to 4, it means I can get that play off a little bit more consistently, in theory, because yeah, I only have the 1 target, but I have the 4 guys to actually get this guy for free. But it means having 4 copies of this means I get to trigger Serious One's trashing effect, quote unquote, trashing effect off the Arcturus more consistently, and it actually did happen a lot. It happened much more frequently. I was much more consistent in getting multiple trashes, which is one of the best ways to play. Being able to evolve into this, tuck an arc, delete something, spring, tuck another arc, delete another thing, and trash another security. You get 2 trashes and 2 checks. You're just dropping them down to 1 security left so fast, which then can really get you into the game more faster. So that changed. This change felt great. Proxy in general only came up twice. Once was when my opponent misplayed and just gave me 8 memory of playing a medieval Gammamon. So I literally was just like, you know what, I'm already in a winning position. I'm just going to hard slam this, tuck this. I didn't really have anything else that would actually get rid of the medieval. So I just hard slammed this. He couldn't delete it even by suspending, so he can only just suspend it. Tucked an Arcturus, deleted him, trashed the security, played another body. So that was like the main thing. The only other time it came up was when I was up against my Tau loop match. They had multiple bodies on board. I managed to get into a Sirius with... I had a Sirius with an arc. So I sprung with a Sirius, deleted, raided over 1 body, deleted another body. They had like some tokens on the field, so I couldn't delete the ace that was sitting on the board. Started building up into a stack with a champ. So I needed 3 more memory to close off the game. So I evolved into this, passing the memory over by 3. Tucked a thing, tucked another Arcturus, deleted the ace, pulling the 3 memory back. So now it was back to my turn. Couldn't spawn a body, but I managed to then proc above us and go into a level 5, which then got me the game. So it's a very weird board scenario. So I feel like with just 2 scenarios only coming up for this guy, and both of them were either just, you know, a complete misplay and just a very odd scenario in a very certain matchup that isn't prevalent much anymore. I actually think of just taking Proximon out completely. I've seen multiple lists that don't play this card at all. Some of them are just going for this, and then like they're taking in other things like the Valkyrie Ace and things like that. But again, you know, going 3-4. So I'm even thinking of just going 3-4 and then playing 1 RB1 Sirius and just, you know, getting those unsuspends and still multiple deletions. But yeah, there's just another thing I'm thinking of doing. Maybe probably just going 4-4 is just probably like the most safest matchup, because I rarely ever need to see like RB1 Sirius anymore. I don't really see the need for him anymore when we just have such aggression with this. But yeah, there could be times where RB1 Sirius could be pretty good. One thing that has been coming up a lot, so I do want to mention it up, is this guy's main effect. I've actually been doing quite frequently, and it's been coming up so many times. The amount of times I've gone from this into this because of this effect, getting multiple trashes again, is just absolutely fantastic. And there's times where I'm turning this back into him again to get that on delete effect when digivolving, so I'm not having to waste an attack to get a delete. Moving on to Tamers is just 3 copies of Hero Minecraft from RB1, 2 copies from BT12, and 1 still from BT 8. These cards are fantastic, you know, all of them are great. But one thing I'm thinking of doing is actually dropping an RB1 and actually bumping the BT21. This is something I've just been really thinking of lately, and it is something I'm going to try out for again the next regionals I'm going to. As playing with the new support more and more and more, I'm really seeing the benefits of having the Digimon doing the tucking as opposed to my Tamer having to do that for me. So having more of the Tamer that actually benefits from the Digimon doing the action as opposed to having another Tamer to do it for me has actually been fantastic. The extra memory this generates for you over the RB1 is, you know, just absurd, as it just naturally gives you a memory, and you mostly need the memory more than the draw power and the more sources. We're not needing to make massive source stacks. We're just mostly just gaining a source just to trigger other effects. And most of them is just from the hero Monocolor, allowing us to gain additional draw power and additional memory just to really progress with our turn. Again, more for the memory than the draws themselves. So that's something I'm also thinking of trying out. You mostly just need to see hero, mostly one of these. Again, this is just mostly so I don't get mem choked. But yeah, that's mostly what that's for. And the last for the deck is obviously, you know, Strongest Brothers, best card in the game, best card in this deck. Absolutely love this card. It's just saves me so many times, gets me out of so many scenarios, and I just absolutely love this card. But yes, that's the overall profile. My matchups were round 1 to Gammamon, beating that 2-1. My second round was to Tau Loop, beating that also 2-1. The third round going into Aosmon, beating that 2-0. Going into round 4 after our break, it was to Hunters. Unfortunately, lost that 2-0. I could have maybe gotten it to a game 3 if this wasn't on the X. So instead of maybe bumping up a Sirius, I actually might just drop this and put in on the X back in the deck as my level 7 choice, mostly for that extra swing for game, because the turn I had the double Sirius ones out, I managed to do 4 checks, put into no security left, but I didn't have that extra swing for game. If I managed to generate an extra swing for game, and even my opponent was just like, dude, if you have Omnimon, cool, we're going to game 3. And unfortunately, I just didn't. So this actually might just be taken out for an Omni X, so I can just get that additional check for game, and you know, and another form of removal if needed. And then going to round 5 was against Mirage Gal, beating that 2-0 as well. So that was for my matchups, getting me again 4th place, 4-1. Absolutely fantastic. I love this deck and how well it performed. Really glad on its performance. The changes I'm thinking of doing, I'll be swapping them out, and we're seeing how they're going to go in this upcoming regionals this weekend. And if the deck performs well, you're going to probably be seeing another profile. So again, do apologize for that, but I really want to document how well this deck is performing, and just again showing you guys that a niche deck like this, a rogue deck like this, I still classify Gammamon as rogue, can do well in these events. And you know, with enough time, thought, you know, training that you can go into it, you can literally do very well with almost anything in the game. So guys, hope you all enjoyed it. Leave your comments down below, like, comment and subscribe. Till next time, as always, stay safe and of course, happy dueling.